We're CMC Steel, Birmingham, Alabama. You're watching NASCAR Race Day on Speed.
It is showtime at Talladega.
Right now, those drivers' hearts are pounding out of their chests.
You can hear the roar of the crowd over the thunder of the motors.
The intensity when the lid blows off. Can you stand it?
The fans jumping up and down, yelling, screaming here in Talladega.
There's no place in the world where they run like they do here at Talladega.
You'll either avoid disaster or you'll be a disaster.
Now they crash. Earnhardt and Marlin hard in the wall.
Head-on crash into the wall goes Bill Elliott. A savage crash in turn one.
Oh, no! He turns him.
Looks like a junkyard back in the backstretch.
Cars tumbling through the air.
Wallace's car barrel rolls 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
Elliott Sadler gets turned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barrel rolls.
7, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars involved.
Contact here at the trioval. Edwards goes up in the air.
Neil Bonnet took a wild ride, lift in the air, crashed up against the catch fence. Trouble as Allison gets up in the air.
He came very, very close to going into the stands. Carl Edwards' car destroyed.
Brad Keselowski won this race.
Unbelievable.
What a day at Talladega.
There is one name that strikes emotion in race fans like no other, and that is Talladega. It's a racetrack so big that you could land an airplane in the infield, and a place so fast that cars can actually fly. The driver of car number 1 has finished P1 in the last 2 restrictor plate races, in a wild finish last time here at Talladega, and in a very emotional Daytona 500 win. When you're hooked up in a 200-mile-an-hour freight train, there is little room for error. One misjudgment can create havoc, and that's why fans flock to Talladega twice a year for one-of-a-kind racing. It's the biggest, baddest track in the land. There is only one Talladega, and today, race fans, it is race day built by the Home Depot. 812 miles of racing in a very rare NASCAR doubleheader, and what a difference 24 hours can make. Yes! Yesterday it was rainy and terrible. Today it is absolutely beautiful, and welcome everyone to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot here at Talladega. I'm John Roberts, he is Kyle Petty, and he is race car driver Kenny Wallace, who's getting ready to drive on this beast today. Man, there's nothing like Talladega.
I'm going to run in the nationwide race right after the Cup race, but race fans, I got goosebumps. You know why? There is so much excitement here at Talladega, and let me tell you why. We have a different restrictor plate. We got the legendary spoiler back. They were beating and banging in practice. I seen Junior come in with a hole in his bumper. I said, calm down, boys, calm down.
Serenity now, serenity now.
We're going to have the big one. Calm down. Kyle, it's out of hand already.
It is, and let's be honest. To add all that, you throw everything that you just said into it, it's Talladega. It's a wild card. You never, ever, ever know what's going to happen from lap to lap. You can go into turn 3 in second place and come out of turn 3 in 22nd place. And we saw the 48 car last year go into turn 3 in 20th place and come out 6th and go on to win the championship.
And this is one of the very few racetracks where you can honestly say that all 43 drivers have an equal shot at winning this thing. We simply do not know who's going to end up in victory lane. But we know who's in the infield for us. That's Wendy Venturini and Hermie Sadler. Guys, take it away.
Well, thanks, Johnny. The sun is out. Can you believe it? We survived the tornado at Talladega in 2010, and it was Hermie's birthday yesterday. Did you enjoy your birthday off?
Well, sat in the motorhome and watched it rain and dodged all the storms, which we were really glad to get that done. But glad to see some racing on the racetrack today. The weather's perfect.
Yeah, with us, literally, we were rained out, more than rained out. We were shut down. The whole garage area was shut down. Speed closed its TV compound up. We all packed out and headed out of the racetrack. So what happens today? We didn't have qualifying. We're rained out. What does this mean for the race cars?
Well, for the teams, I don't think it means a whole lot because this was scheduled to be an impound race. In other words, whatever you qualified, that's what you had to put on the grid in race today. No changes. But if there's a concern, it's for the drivers because yesterday was a very low-key day, a dreary day here at the racetrack. So a little bit anxious to see how the drivers, get back in that groove, get focused for this racing at Talladega, which can be very, very mentally and physically challenging.
Well, I don't know about you, but on my day off yesterday, I went back and watched a replay of Friday's practice because that's really all we had to go off of was Friday's practice. But what we did see Friday was the 2-car breakaway, the bump drafting going on, along with our new spoiler that we have here at Talladega. What did you see, and how do you think these cars are going to react differently?
This practice on Friday was very, very interesting. We saw the drivers go back and do the very thing that NASCAR last fall said you cannot do, and you mentioned it, the 2-car breakaway. This restrictor plate in this rules package allows for 2 cars to get together and really get separation by staying wide open all the way around this racetrack. And so the key is now who does it, and if you do it at the right time, to get to victory lane. So in the second thing I saw, Wendy, with this spoiler, it seemed like the middle, going up through the middle of a draft, came back into play a lot more than we saw with the wing here last fall. So again, it's all about making the right choice at the right time to get to victory lane.
Well, I love racing at Talladega, and it's going to be double the bonus of racing today, of course, with Cup race this afternoon, followed by the nationwide race once again, Johnny. Man, so much racing that we've had the last 2 Sundays and Mondays in a row. It's crazy, isn't it, Johnny?
Boy, Wendy, and once again, what a difference a day can make. It was so dreary here yesterday, but now we have beautiful blue skies. And you know, what is a race without chicken? We said we had a doubleheader today, but how about KFC's new Double Down chicken? And we got really great service here at the Speed
Yes,
Station.
we do.
Great. Heather and Robin have actually brought us some chicken.
Guys,
you guys are very nice.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, I love it.
Thank you. Double Down. Caution, it's hot.
Oh, looky here.
Is it hot?
They should say this on the racetrack as well. Caution, hot.
Oh, I like this.
The action's going to be hot.
There's
got
no,
bacon,
no bread, carb-free, is that right?
Race fans, we encourage you to try KFC's new Double Down sandwich. Take everything you love about the chicken sandwich, now double it. 2 juicy all-white meat grilled fillets and 2 slices of crisp bacon, the Colonel's special sauce, and 2 kinds of cheese sandwiched in between. It's so meaty, there's no room for a bun, and it's only at KFC. What do you think, KP?
Oh, my It's good. You need to quit talking and eat some of it.
I got to talk. You guys eat.
Okay, I'll eat, man.
We'll share some with the friends. We're going to enjoy our chicken. We'll take a quick break here. We're back to Talladega in just a moment with much more of NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. We don't need to say anything else, but it's Talladega.
NASCAR Race Day is brought to you in part by KFC. Try the new Double Down Sandwich. So much chicken there wasn't room for a bun. Only at KFC. NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And brought to you in part by the General Automobile Insurance Services. For the best car insurance rates in town, call 1-800-GENERAL now.
What puts the D in Talladega? Well, it's one-of-a-kind racing, great fans, and now we have a beautiful sunny day for this doubleheader weekend of NASCAR action. 812 miles today. Now, the pit strategy of the number 48 team did not get Jimmy Johnson the win last time here at Talladega, but it did go a long way towards solidifying his spot in the chase for the championship. So with that in mind, let's now check in with the Chad Knaus, and our Sunoco pit strategy of the week.
So you thought we had the big wreck at Texas? Well, let's just hope that we don't have that same situation here at Talladega. After an awful lot of testing, an awful lot of hard work on NASCAR's part and on all of the teams, we're here to race at Talladega with a completely different package than what we had when we were here last fall. Last fall, we were here with the wing on the back of the race car, obviously, as everybody knows. Well, now we're back with the spoiler, and the spoiler is a lot different than what we had when we were testing here. During the test, the cars had an awful lot of fast closure rate. You could really suck up on somebody, and the drivers could really bunch up and take off away from the field. Well, NASCAR's like, you know, guys, that's a little too dangerous and a little bit too fast. So by making the spoiler a little bit smaller, it's a little bit more difficult to get into the wake of the other car and draft up on them quite as fast as what we were. Now, you can go about 45 laps on a Sunoco fuel run, but the thing you have to realize here, that really doesn't matter unless you're at the very, very end of the race. It's going to be an exciting one, guys, so enjoy it.
After the checkered flag is waved, be sure to check out NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, and catch all of the race highlights and raw emotions straight from Victory Lane. Also, go to speedtv.com, keyword Sunoco, to enter for your chance to win an autographed flag signed by the winner of today's race. And you know, Casey Kane's been in the headlines for a lot of different reasons other than what's been happening on the track. Today, he would like to change all that and be in the headlines with a win at Talladega. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Johnny, and Casey, first of all, a rough weather day here at the racetrack yesterday. What'd you guys do to man the storm? You parked right beside me here in the coach lot.
Yeah, I just actually watched a bunch of NBA playoffs, watched a movie. It was pretty much just spending it inside the bus, and I saw a couple of buses here had their slides in like they thought they were going to fly away or something, but we were fine. We made it through the day, and it was kind of an all right day, but made it through, and today's perfect.
A lot of talk about you and your plans for the future, but right now I know your focus is on this 9 team. A good finish last week, and you finished second at Talladega last fall.
Yeah, we had a really good run last week. Our Budweiser Ford was pretty good throughout the race. We ended up finishing it off strong and got some good points. Hopefully the same today. It's going to be a much different race with this rear spoiler. The pack will be together, and then cars will get strung back, and then they'll be able to catch back up. So it's going to be interesting how it all turns out. But yeah, we've ran pretty well at Talladega in the past.
What is your plan for today? A lot of different strategies we see at Talladega. We see guys running up front all day. We see guys riding in the back and waiting to the end. Have you and Kenny Francis talked about a plan for today?
You know, I've tried to do it all different ways, and you just never know what's going to happen. Even if you're in the back, you can still be in the wreck or anything that may happen. So I'm just going to try to get out there and have fun. And the only way to have fun here is to be in the middle of it all and just really just going for it and hope to stay out of any wrecks.
And before we let you go, we know you filmed a PSA for Ronald McDonald House recently. How did that go for you?
It went great. It was for a mobile, that travels around, and it was pretty neat. We've donated the first 50,000. It cost 500,000 to get one on the road, and it's a really neat deal. I love the Ronald McDonald House charities and what they do for kids and families for them to get better quicker. So it's a good thing. And the NASCAR pin, a lot of that money's going to the Ronald McDonald House charities right now also. So go out and get yourself a NASCAR pin for NASCAR Day.
And I am pulling for Casey Kane, although I'm still mad at him for the beatdown he put me on the paintball field at Richmond a couple weeks ago, but we'll get past that. Wendy?
I saw the photos from that paintball game. It was very interesting. Now, the standing joke in the garage, Elliott, has been, what did you do during the tornado? I know you were with Hermie, which was his birthday yesterday. Did you buckle down into the bus?
We actually put our slides in also, and we didn't know what to do. I actually texted Casey. I was like, look, are we supposed to go get in a concrete building? Are we supposed to stay in the bus? What are we supposed to do? And Casey's like, actually, I'm on pit road getting ready to make my qualifying run. So it was pretty funny, but I'm glad all the storms missed us and all the race fans and everything stayed safe in this area. And beautiful day today. So now the winds and the craziness will be on the racetrack for 188 laps.
Hey, let's go back to last week. Your best finish of 2010, 18th at Texas. That's got to give you some momentum. Got to make you feel good.
It does. We missed a wreck and we made some great pit calls and got ourselves in that position. We still didn't run it exactly how we wanted to, but if I can pick a racetrack that I can come to try to get some things turned around, it's here at Talladega. I think we've led at least one lap in the last 14 races here. We've been competitive here. We run up front. You got to be in the right line at the right time. So hopefully we'll make some good decisions today. It's going to be a wild, wild race. The fans at home are in for a treat. We just you got to hook up with that 2-car tandem in the right time and try to push somebody to the victory or somebody push us.
How much did you learn on Friday's practice? You're carrying this cool paint scheme for autism awareness. It would be really cool to get to Victory Lane for you.
It would. We, it is Autism Awareness Month, and we got an awesome helmet, and we always try to auction it off to the fans, and of course all the proceeds go towards autism. So we need to win the race because that'll make the value of the helmet go up. So it's a cool helmet. It looks good. We learned about pushing. The rules and stuff that we have right now, you actually physically have to push the car in front of you to make speed and go fast, and we all know that as drivers. So you're going to see a lot of bump drafting today, 3 and 4 and 5 wide, and a lot of pushing going on. But it's going to be a wild one, but it should be fun to be a part of.
And I have to mention, congratulations, Amanda's home and baby Wyatt is back home.
Oh yeah, exactly. He came back home last Sunday, and Amanda and I are so blessed and so happy to have him at home, and he's just been an amazing part of our life. So love spending time with him. It's hard to leave him when I had to leave Friday morning to come down here, but looking forward to seeing him tonight. So they'll be at home watching today and cheering Daddy on. So it's great. I'll be home soon tonight to see you guys, and love you very much.
All right, thanks to Elliott, and good luck to him today with that autism awareness helmet paint scheme. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot, and glad to hear from the proud papa. Elliott Sadler has 4 top 10 finishes here at Talladega in his career and runs very well on the plate track, so you better watch out for him. A couple other guys to watch out for on the racetrack today are coming your way. Of course, there's the 99 of Carl Edwards, who's had a wild finish, but also coming up, it's Kyle Busch and David Rudiman.
At Talladega, it's all about the 3 S's. Speed, speed, and speed. We'll take you back to 1987, when too much speed led to one of the craziest crashes ever.
The car became airborne and went flying literally into that catch fencing.
Straight ahead, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
In 1958, Big Daddy John Bishop opened the first Dreamland Barbecue in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and the original location is still serving up some of the best barbecued ribs and secret recipe sauce in the land. Folks from all over the country come to visit this iconic restaurant, and Dreamland Barbecue has been an Alabama tradition for over 50 years. Well, it was not by tradition, but by necessity that NASCAR had to implement the restrictor plate on these big racetracks at Talladega and Daytona because the speeds were getting so high. But if you go back to 1987, it was Bobby Allison who found out just how fast the speeds were getting, and in turn turned out why we now have the restrictor plate on these big racetracks.
From the world's longest and fastest racetrack, Talladega, Alabama, the crowd now begins to cheer as the pace picks up and the Winston 500 is underway.
Here they show up at Talladega, non-restricted engines, okay? Bill Elliott busts out a qualifying lap of over 212 miles per hour.
8 drivers exceeded 210 miles per hour. That also constitutes 8 of the 10 fastest laps of qualifying ever in the long history of NASCAR stock car racing.
Now, instead of warning signals going out that these cars are going too fast, which drivers are already saying, the media jumps right in and says speed, speed, and more speed.
The pace is 209.82 miles an hour.
Much faster, I think, than anybody anticipated.
Terry Lingner was producing the race that day. It just so happened that the cameras had just switched over and we were watching Bobby when the accident happened.
Oh, we have a problem. Bobby Allison with a horrible crash here on the front stretch. It has torn out a complete section of protective railing separating debris and is collecting other cars. There was a lot of debris in the front stretch.
I saw that car get airborne, and it was the day NASCAR stood still. We thought he had perished right there. There was no doubt about it.
I knew I needed to hang on. I knew that I had to weather this storm. And what happened, the crash ruptured my dry sump oil tank, and I had oil in my eyes. And it blew all in my face and got inside my goggles and all over me, in my eyes and everything. And so I couldn't see.
There goes Darrell Waltrip.
Bobby's car goes airborne. The crankshaft had broken off, and it was headed right for my car, and it hit the roof and knocked a big hole in the roof and broke out my windshield.
In the broadcast booth, Bob and Larry immediately know this is serious, serious trouble. Not only for Bobby, was Harold Kinder injured up in the flag stand.
I went right under that flag stand, and he never missed a beat waving that flag. You know what I mean?
He has torn out a whole large area of guardrail. There it is, protecting the crowd from the racetrack, and he came very, very close to going into the stands.
They loaded me in the ambulance and started the wrong way around the racetrack to go to the infield hospital, the infirmary in the infield. And so I said, well, they're driving me this way so I don't see all those dead people laying out there in the track because I knew that I'd gone into that fencing.
We're concerned about some spectators who may have been hit by flying debris. The track security and the Talladega Sheriff's Department is on the scene, trying to keep the crowd under control.
We were getting limited reports that there were people injured, but it appeared that no one was critically injured.
We came back around, and you saw the fence tore down and everything, and it's hard to believe a race car could do that to the fence, and we were just so lucky it didn't get in the grandstands.
Had Bobby Allison gotten up into the grandstands, we wouldn't be doing this interview today.
During one of the commercial breaks, Larry Newberg turned to me and he said, that was almost the end of racing as we know it here in America.
If it would have been a deal where several got killed, it could have been time to, get the movement started to close the racetrack and to close NASCAR.
Davey Allison saw the accident from his rear view mirror, and he was just mortified. He was terrified that something bad had happened to his father.
We tried to hurry up and get back around as quick as we could and make sure everybody was okay, and I'll tell you, I breathed a sigh of relief and thanked the good Lord when I saw my dad get out of that car.
In another storybook finish, the race was restarted and Davey Allison won his first career race.
There it is! Davey Allison wins!
The sweetest
was a great emotional win for Davey. He knew his dad was safe. There was this classic shot of Davey coming down pit road with all of the crew riding on the car, and it was just another one of those incredible Talladega moments for the youngest member of the Alabama gang.
What an amazing day in NASCAR history, and also wanted to let you know that the folks here at the Talladega Superspeedway have extended that fence by about 4 feet after Carl Edwards' incident in between the last fall race and the last spring race here at Talladega. So good job by Talladega to keep the fans safe. But Kyle Petty, you were in that race. We saw a very young Kyle Petty qualifying at well over 200 miles an hour. And Kenny, that was just a shocking day.
You know, that 1987 wreck by Bobby Allison has burnt into my brain the word forever. There was 2 forevers. First of all, it changed super speedway racing at Daytona and Talladega forever. And because of that, we have the restrictor plate forever. I'm glad that we had that segment to make a lot of you young ones knowledgeable. And Kyle, that's why we have the restrictor plate.
Yeah, that's exactly why we have the restrictor plate. I was really young then. I didn't have any hair then.
And you were fast.
If you look at, but you know what was cool about that interview with Bobby was his concern for the fans. Forget him. His was concern for Harold Kinder, the flagman, and then for the fans. But when you look at it, and you watch that race, it was easy to race in. It was a totally different type of racing. You saw Davey and Bill Elliott check out. You saw the next crowd when the wreck happened. When Bobby stops here, it's another 10 or 15 seconds before the next pack come. It's not the type of racing that you see today at the Speedway. And the other thing, it threw the windshield out of the car. You saw Darrell's windshield caved in. We ran glass windshields in. There's so much stuff that has changed, and it's such a safer sport because of this one event right here.
Every wreck we have, whether it was Bobby Allison's or Dale Earnhardt's, you notice the hood flew away. Now NASCAR has what we call tethers. The hood cannot fly away because the hoods are literally tethered to the race car. So congratulations to NASCAR for realizing and learning from these wrecks. We got a much safer racetrack today here at Talladega.
Now the crowd here with us at the stage is really gonna like this next bit of video we're gonna show you because it symbolizes a great tradition in college football. When you think about tradition in college football, the University of Alabama and Coach Paul Bear Bryant always come to mind. The Crimson Tide added another chapter to their historic legacy in 2009, going 14-0 and winning their 13th national championship. And running back Mark Ingram took home Alabama's first ever Heisman Trophy, and the Tide look to continue their tradition of excellence in 2010 and beyond. That's an endearing image of Paul Bear Bryant that any football fan has to love. And Alabama's Crimson Tide is riding aboard the car of David Rudiman today. Let's go down to Hermie Sadler.
And a lot of pressure on David Rudiman today, not only the race sponsor Aaron's on your car, but also the Alabama Crimson Tide. A lot of big-time Tide fans pulling for you today, too, so a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
Yeah, I tell you, I really underestimated just how big a deal this really is. And these folks up here in Alabama, they're hardcore about their football. And I think it's a really unique thing that Aaron's done. The car looks awesome. It's a little something different. And I think we're going to have quite a few fans out here today, I hope.
Talk about your season. You finished 5th in the Daytona 500, 3 top 15s to start the season. Then after that, you guys have been running every week. You've had mechanical failures in 3 races. You've been in the top 5 all of those races. So speed's not been a problem, but how do you turn that speed into good race finishes?
Well, I mean, it's, sometimes coming to Talladega is a hard place to turn your season around, but I mean, we got to start now. We've definitely had a great Aaron's Dream Machine all year long, and we've just had, between the motor failures and some other things, we just had stuff that's taken it out. The speed has been there, the pit stops have been there, all the stuff that we need to run fast we've had, but we just haven't had the finishes to show for it, and we got to get it turned around. We're a whole lot better than a 30th place team, right? And we got to get it turned around. We got no choice.
Talk about practice on Friday. If that's any indication, we're in for a wild race today. What did you learn, from the spoiler being back on the car and how it affected the draft and what you're planning for today?
Well, I think we learned a lot in the test here whenever we came here and, to try to figure out what configuration we were going to come back with. So, it was, the cars draft, roughly the same, that you still have 2 cars can, hook up together and take off. The only downside is, as it was before, the cars have to be nose to tail touching all the way around, and in order for it to work, you can't back off a guy and get in the corner and get back to him. You have to stay on him. And then you run into a problem where you can maybe run a lap and a half before your car gets hot if you're pushing another car. So you got to time everything right, and it all comes down to same super speedway racing, timing and being in the right spot at the right time when it counts.
Well, one piece of good news coming up here in a couple weeks on Speed, the All-Star Race and the Showdown right here on Speed. Now, you're locked in, so it's going to be a lot of fun for you to watch those guys try to get in the race in that showdown.
Yeah, I know how tough that deal is to get into, and getting our first win in the Coke 600 was guaranteed us in. I mean, that's going to be a great feeling. I'm really excited about having the opportunity to go there with Aaron's and actually be able to watch that race. I've always been in it in the past, and now it's going to be fun to just watch it.
And another driver that's locked into that all-star race in Charlotte coming up is with Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Yes, I am, Hermie. I am with Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle's coming off a great finish of Texas last week where he finished third. Big points week last time, moving up 6 spots. You were the big mover in points, so what kind of momentum does that give you, or anything for today?
Nothing for the day. Today's always that week where it's a crapshoot for us, but we're looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes, and we've got a good pedigree Camry that we're looking forward to racing today, and hopefully we'll have a good run and stay out of trouble.
Did you do many 2-car breakaways in Friday's practice? Did you try that at all?
A little bit, not too much. Denny was doing more of it than I was, but he was pushing me a little bit, and then I seen him pushing a bunch of other people too. But to me, it just seems what it's going to be like, probably coming down here to the last 4 or 5 laps of the race. And if you're out there on old used tires, it does get a little loose, but as long as you can hang on to it, you'll be all right.
It's a long day of racing, both Cup and Nationwide side for these races today. How does a driver stay patient?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, this place is always tough because you want to hang out in the back because that's the smart thing to do, but then when you get back there, it's like, man, what am I doing? We're supposed to be racing here, so you try to get up towards the front, and then something might happen. But for today, we've got to keep it smart. We've got to keep the points going in both series, of course, and so hopefully we'll see how we can run on all.
So you're not giving me the strategy whether you're going to fall to the back or go to the front?
No, not yet. To be honest, I've tried running in the back and it just doesn't suit me. And I try to go up front and ride around and watch in case anything's happening. If it's getting crazy, I go to the back again. But it's harder to ride in the back than it is to just race up front.
All right, well, good luck to Kyle Busch starting 6th, of course, by points, and his teammate Denny Hamlin's going to join us a little bit later on race day. Maybe he can give us his strategy. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. You can see the All-Star race here on Speed May 22nd. That means for a couple of guys, May 23rd is going to be a great day because somebody's going to bring home $1 million and have a lot of bragging rights after that. Now, Kyle Busch had the bragging rights after winning here at Talladega back in April of '08. There's your Texas race winning car driven by Denny Hamlin. We'll talk to him a little bit later on in the show. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, coming to you from the Talladega Super Speedway. Now, there is nothing silly about racing at Talladega. It is serious business. But what is silly is NASCAR's silly season, and it's already in full swing. We call it silly season because of the way drivers start going around and all the silly talk you hear in the garage. Wendy has an update on what's getting silly after just 8 races of the season. Wendy?
And you know what silly season means for us on race day. That means the whiteboard comes out. Okay, so things we already know. Casey Kane is going to be leaving Richard Petty Motorsports and headed over to Hendrick Motorsports in 2011. What the unknown is what happens to the 9 car and the driver there. Well, what else came about this weekend? Well, it happens to be that Shell, the sponsor at RCR with driver Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, is going to head over here to Penske Racing with driver Kurt Busch, crew chief Steve Addington, and instead of the 2 folks, be prepared, it's going to be a number 22 with that Shell sponsorship next year. Now, what does this mean for Kevin Harvick in the 29? We do know Kevin Harvick is a free agent at the end of this season. Will he stay with RCR? We don't know yet, but we'll continue to track that story. We do know they're looking for sponsorship. Now, also want to mention that this Mobil 1 sponsorship at Penske Racing, because they're getting Shell, well, guess what? Mobil 1 is going away at Penske with Sam Hornish. We don't know if they're going to have a sponsor on the 77 car for Sam Hornish because of the conflict between Shell and Mobil 1 at Penske. Now, you were just thinking, well, if I'm a Miller Lite fan, what happens to that? Well, if you didn't follow the announcement this week, Miller Lite is going to the 2 cars staying together, but it's a new driver, and that driver is Brad Keselowski. He's going to keep his crew chief, Jay Guy. Now, if you are a 2 Miller Lite fan, you now are going to become a Brad Keselowski fan. Otherwise, you're going to have a big conflict with all your Miller Lite gear. So this is what's happened. Only 8 races in, Johnny. Still a lot of unknowns out there. We're just throwing this out. There's also talk about whether 4th team is being formed at Joe Gibbs Racing, whether a 3rd team is going to be formed at Stewart Haas Racing. I'll get the words out, Johnny. Stewart Haas Racing and that work about the 5 car and Mark Martin for 2011, what's going to happen there. So a lot's going to happen, and we're going to continue to follow it on race day. This is not the end of the whiteboard.
That's good, Wendy. But what's really silly about this whole thing, guys, is we're 8 races into this season, and we're already talking about major drivers moving when you talk about Casey Kane going to Hendrick Motorsports and major sponsors moving, the names as big as Shell.
Well, I heard that Rusty Wallace was coming out of retirement to drive the number 2 Miller Lite car.
All right, that's the end of that speculation.
Just kidding. You know what? Seriously, race fans, this is out of hand right now. This is the sign of the times. I'm really worried about my friend Richard Childress. In 8 months, he's lost 3 sponsors. He's lost Holiday Inn, Jack Daniels, Shell. So, you know, Richard Childress right now has got to be sitting on pins and needles, Kyle.
Yeah, and here's what is interesting about this. We sit here as commentators, and the fans sit here, and we all complain about it being silly season. It's not silly season, okay? This is business.
Season.
No, it's business.
Business season.
It's business. It's business, and business goes on 24/7, 365. And this is business, whether it happens in the first of the year or whether it happens at the end. You know, I think Shell moving was a surprise. Miller, that was all internal. But I think when you look at it, these were decisions that weren't made last week. These guys have been talking about it or thinking about it in these companies for the last year, maybe 18 months. So these are business decisions to move their companies forward. Now, the race teams themselves have to scramble, figure out what the drivers are going to do to move the teams forward.
I think one thing that does make sense is Shell Motor Oil looking at Roger Penske. You have to understand Roger Penske has maybe 60 to 100 dealerships or more. So if Shell goes, hey, can we put our motor oil in all your repair shops at Roger Penske's dealerships throughout the United States? Now we're talking business-to-business transactions, and hopefully that explains a little bit maybe why Shell went to Roger Penske.
Yeah, and remember, that's Pennzoil on that. One of the most famous Penske cars ever is Rick Mears in that Penske car, dude. I don't care.
Relationship.
Yeah, relationships.
And it means your public relations person is going to be very busy for the next couple of weeks as well. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, and I think one thing is important for the fans to realize or understand is they may be saying, why is Shell Pennzoil leaving Kevin Harvick and Richard Childress Racing? He's having such a great season. Well, these talks started last year when there was some issues with Kevin Harvick and Richard Childress and, some disgruntled employees and, not really a lot of happiness at that organization. So these things happen 6 months ahead of time, and then now the media learns about it and the fans learn about it. And the reason I bring that up is there are a lot of other teams. We talked about Richard Petty Motorsports, some other teams that seem to be in some trouble sponsorship-wise. They need to run good now and perform now so that when we get to the middle part of the season and into the fall, they're in a position to lure some of these sponsors back on board. So it doesn't happen. Shell Pennzoil didn't just decide last week they were leaving and going to Penske Racing. These things happen well before everybody else knows about them. So, performance is key for everybody, but especially the teams and the drivers looking for homes and sponsors for 2011. They need to get it done starting today.
Hermie, thank you. And when you talk about these race teams, sometimes guys are working 7 hours a day, 7 days a week, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. How much of a distraction is it? How hard is it to work under that when you don't know where your driver's going to be, you don't know what kind of sponsor you're going to have?
This is a very big distraction in any type of athleticism. You're looking at these crew members who have children, and they're thinking, am I going to be working here next year? It's a huge distraction, Kyle.
Yeah, it is. And, you're committed to that driver. You're committed to Casey Kane. You're committed to Kurt Busch. You're committed to Kevin Harvick. But you're also committed to Richard Childress because he's the guy that's signing your paycheck. But there's that split loyalty there, and it's incredibly hard. And like Kenny says, it's tough for a family and kids to go to school to say, hey, man, I just heard that your dad might be out of a job because Kevin just lost his sponsor. That's a big deal. So it's a funnel down and it's a trickle down, but it's like that through any business, anywhere you go. Ours just happens to be a lot more public.
And it happens. Children do talk at school and make fun of the kids. It happens in real life. Your daddy lost his ride. Hey, your daddy lost his sponsorship. I'm serious. It happens.
It does. That's true.
When it comes to matters of elementary school, we go to Kenny Wallace. That's where we get our information from. Right to the expert. Back with more NASCAR Race Day in a moment. The steel industry has played a huge part in the history of Birmingham, Alabama, and CMC Steel is continuing that tradition by recycling, manufacturing, and distributing steel and metal products through a network of 250 locations worldwide. They use electric arc furnaces to melt scrap metal that's casted, rolled, and milled into products used in infrastructures around the world. And we want to thank the folks at CMC for having us through to show us how they get their business done. And we do not want to see any type of scrap metal on the racetrack today. But one thing we do know for sure is that Bill France Sr. had a huge part in making NASCAR what it is today. He was one of the first 5 inductees into the Hall of Fame. And just in case you missed a special we had on Speed about this man, here's a little taste of what we saw.
The famous Daytona International Speedway, a 2.5-mile tri-oval course that's said to be the fastest track in the world.
It scared the hell out of me, I'll put it that way. And it didn't only scare me, it scared everybody that come down in through that tunnel. Because we'd been running half a mile, quarter miles, maybe a mile track now and then, and we look up there and see this monster, you know what I mean? And God, people's eyes popped out of their head.
These guys were the astronauts of their day. They were getting into uncharted territory. No one had ever done this before with a car on a track this big, with banking that high. So they learned every lap they went. They learned a little bit more.
That speedway, it brought something to the sport and to the public that they'd never seen anything like. Racing is about speed, and they had the ultimate track to achieve that.
The big track opened with as much pomp and circumstance as we could plan. We could schedule all that. But the quality of racing on that new track would be a spontaneous surprise.
The race is on.
They didn't know what the tires were going to do. They didn't know anything about aerodynamics. They didn't know anything about, if the engines were going to last. But they ran that entire first Daytona 500 without a caution.
The first 50 miles are run in 23 minutes. 142 miles an hour. The fastest official time ever recorded by stock cars on a closed course. Lee Petty in number 42 and Johnny Beauchamp in 73 roar into first and second place, with their pit crews whipping them on.
Johnny Beauchamp, he and I were running on the last lap. And going out of the third turn, up fourth turn there, he went high and I went low.
The checkered flag. The race is over. Both Petty and Beauchamp clocked in the identical time.
I had no idea who won that race because there were 3 cars that were side by side, and you couldn't tell which one crossed the start-finish line first.
Could there not have been a better finish for the first Daytona 500 than that?
Johnny Beauchamp pulled into victory lane, but Lee Petty pulled up close too. The way he saw it, he had the advantage. I needed to see for myself, so before declaring an official winner, we would hold an official review. NASCAR would settle this the right way.
That's where Bill put out the APB for 3 days. They looked at pictures and movies and everything they could find. That classic photo taken by T. Taylor Warren, who was the NASCAR photographer at the time, that's the one that convinced them that Petty had won. But if you look at that picture real close, Bill Sr. is under the flag stand looking through the fence because he could see that it was going to be a close finish. But Joe Weatherly, who was a lap down, was on the outside of the 2 cars and it blocked Bill's view.
You think he knew who won that race?
Oh, I think he knew. I'm pretty sure he knew, but he got all those official photographs and people were, getting their pictures developed and sending it. I mean, what could be better? And he milked it right to the end.
I mean, poor Johnny Beauchamp, he got to, smooch the trophy girl and he, held the cup up and all that stuff. And then, oh, sorry, Charlie, we made a mistake, And so a few days later, they ended up giving the trophy to Lee Petty.
The first race proved that racing is about competition, and you come down after 500 miles. No one could have imagined it. I don't think Bill France, even with his imagination, could have imagined that it would come down to that.
And that incredible finish captured America's imagination. And France was so smart, he realized that Daytona had this history that went back to 1903. And he put it all together, and he didn't throw that away.
May 23rd is a big day here on Speed. The Hall of Fame ceremony induction, and we'll have the induction of the first 5 members. You can see it all on Speed starting at 12 p.m. And guys, when you look back at a man like Bill France Sr., you got to wonder when they were running around tacking up the handbills to the telephone poles trying to get people to come out, if they really could envision what this sport was going to become.
I just want to say, from my personal standpoint, a kid coming out of St. Louis, Missouri, I mean this. I look you in the eye and I say, I am so happy and so honored to be part of NASCAR. My dad, Russ Wallace, was a great race car driver, won 400 features throughout Missouri, Illinois. Kyle, you're blessed. I mean, you're part of the Petty family. I am honored. I got goosebumps. I mean, I've been in NASCAR my whole life. I love NASCAR.
And that was a cool piece. You got to see my grandfather and my father standing on pit road cheering. But you ask if Bill envisioned this thing being what the answer to that is no. I think he was incredibly far-sighted. And he looked into the future and he could see things. But I think what he did best at Daytona was look into the past. Just as they said, he took Daytona and incorporated the history of the beach at a brand new speedway. And if you didn't know better, you'd think they'd been running the 500 for 60 or 70 years when they ran the very first one. That's where he was great. He was a great promoter. And the Hall of Fame is incredible, honoring his legacy and Bill Jr.'s legacy and all the people that have been a part of it.
And great-granddaddy Lee said he drove into the thing and saw a monster.
And most of all, he was a big man and ruled with an iron fist. And that's what you got to have when everybody's saying, do this, do that. Just like you, JR.
Exactly like you. Like you told that gate guard this morning. Like you told that gate guard.
We got to take a quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. But we also want to remind you that we have a lot of special programming coming up Friday on Speed. See the incredible story of NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee Junior Johnson. He went from moonshine runner to one of NASCAR's greatest drivers and one of the most successful team owners in NASCAR history. Friday at 10 Eastern, only on Speed. Restrictor plate action isn't the only type of racing here in Talladega. Fans have packed the 1/3 mile high bank Talladega short track for decades, catching legends like the Alabama gang's Red Farmer, our own Kenna Wallace, watching them tackle the 14-degree bank turns and 400-foot straightaways built out of Alabama red clay. The roots of dirt track racing are still alive at the Talladega short track. And also those short dirt tracks are where rivalries are born. And we saw a bit of a rivalry playing out on the racetrack last Monday at Texas as Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon did a little bit of beating and banging among teammates. Because it's those two, it hit the headlines, and they addressed it on Friday.
I think that people talk about rivalries in this sport all the time, and they think that it has to come from another organization. But, you know, I haven't won a championship since 2001. Jimmy's team, you know, and Chad and those guys came on in 2002, and I think that's the last time I finished ahead of them in points was 2002. And so, you know, those guys have set the standard, set the benchmark in our whole sport as well as our organization.
Did you guys hear about the fight we got into? Man, we just got into a hell of a fight. Really? Yeah, I caught him good with the right hook, and glad he's wearing those shades. No, honestly, you know, we're out there racing, and it doesn't matter, teammate or not. You're gonna race really, really hard, and that's what we do. You know, Jeff and I have been racing each other really hard because we both have had really good race cars and race wins, and you know, of course there is a very intense rivalry through the Hendrick teammates, and especially in that 24-48 shop. But being that it's a rivalry, it's always been a very good one, and it'll continue to be that way.
Now, let's face it, doesn't matter who it is. If it's your teammate or not, you want to beat these guys on the racetrack, especially the guy that's winning everything, and lately that's been Jimmy Johnson, and that means that Jeff Gordon wants to beat him just as bad as anybody else.
Well, I was thinking about what I was going to say, and it's called the situation. Here's the situation. Jeff Gordon hired Jimmy Johnson. So the teacher was Jeff Gordon. Now the problem is that the student, who is Jimmy Johnson, is teaching the teacher. And that's hard on a teacher. So, I mean, you hire a guy. Jeff Gordon goes, hey, Jimmy Johnson, come drive for me. And now, you know, he's out running him. And Jeff Gordon said, look, I haven't won a championship since 2000, 2001. It's got to be hard on Jeff Gordon because he's such a great race car driver.
Yeah, and here's the deal. You know, and we were talking about it in the meeting this morning. This is an issue for Rick internally. You know, if his drivers start banging on each other. But just like Jimmy said, you know, I go out there to race my teammate and race him hard. I think the deal is, and I made some notes on this, When Darrell came along, he stuck in the King's crawl because the King was winning all the races. And Darrell stuck in. When Dale Earnhardt Sr. came along, he stuck in Darrell's crawl for a while. And when Jeff Gordon came along, he stuck in Dale Sr.'s crawl. And now that banner or that mantle has been passed, and Jimmy is now just getting a little bit and tweaking Jeff just enough. But I think what it shows from Jeff is it shows his passion and the passion he brings back to the game this year.
You got 8 championships among those two guys. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, I just can't figure out what all the fuss is about. What are these guys supposed to do? They're supposed to race. The Rick Hendrick mold of the banner that has worked all, since Hendrick Motorsports was formed was work together during the week and in preparation. But once you get on the racetrack, it's every man for himself. Now, these guys are not going to want to run at each other on lap 5 or, crash each other today on lap 5 or whatever. But Rick wants his guys to race hard for wins each and every race. That's what Jeff Gordon is supposed to do, and that's what Jimmy Johnson was supposed to do. If these were 2 other teammates from another team battling for 25th, nobody would say a word. I say go for it. These guys are supposed to race.
Hermie, we will be seeing a lot of racing today. 812 miles here on the Talladega Super Speedway. We have the Cup race first, followed by the rain-delayed NASCAR Nationwide Series race. It's all here at Talladega today, and it's all under beautiful sunny skies. Stay with us. Much more of NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, is coming up.
Has it been 1 year already? Keselowski's win was one of 09's most memorable moments, and it was so good. We're heading back to take one more look at that fantastic finish. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway. They're saying this is Talladega, folks. This is one of the greatest races of the year. Nothing like beating and banging on a restrictor plate track. A lot of things could happen today. What's going to happen to our points leader, Jimmy Johnson? Of course, after a stormy Saturday, he's going to start P1 from points after qualifying was canceled and the whole track was actually shut down this weekend. How about Denny Hamlin coming off his win Texas on Monday? That's 2 wins for Denny Hamlin, 2 out of 3 for Denny. He is on a roll. And of course, the 11 car starts 11th today. And of course, Carl Edwards was upside down last year at Talladega. Everyone remembers the video that we saw last year. Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski, man, that was a story. And here we are 1 year later. It's hard to believe it's been 1 year since Brad Keselowski's first win in the Sprint Cup Series. Of course, he's in a different car today and a different team, but nonetheless, man, that was a history-making day. Let's take a look back at it.
Fans are filing in as on a perfect Sunday afternoon, we're about to see one of the most thrilling races that we'll see all year. If you survive to the end of the race, then you got to trust your instincts. At the very last moment, just about anybody, when it comes down to the finish, you have a chance to go into victory lane.
For the 80th time here at Talladega, green flag goes in the air and we are underway. It's almost utter chaos the first 3 or 4 laps.
What the over this 13? He's clueless. He races in other countries. He's not supposed to be here. They're pushing way too hard, dude. Thank you, but no thank you. I hear you, baby, but you're in front of all the trouble.
Contact! Jeff Gordon is into the outside wall. This is a mess in turn number 4. There's
all right, man? Yeah, done for now. I don't know. Let's go to the garage, see if we can get it fixed. With getting a deck lid with a wing on it, we can get it back pretty quick. That was pretty hairy to be this early, my opinion.
Wild racing after a big crash early. We thought they might settle down just a little bit, but when you come to Talladega, apparently it's just in your blood. They haven't let up one bit.
Kyle, you're going to wreck us all blocking like that, dude. The track is super wild today. Have fun, buddy.
Kyle Busch spinning wildly and out of control.
I'm a lap down. Damn it.
And all of a sudden, we're seeing some new faces up front.
Brad Keselowski is down low.
Junior just jumped in behind you. 88's on your inside corner now.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets into Keselowski. What a save.
Keep digging, man. Good job. Try not to lose the pack. We're all good.
They're going to race this way all the way to the checkered flag.
Here come Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski. They're up to 3rd, and now they're looking for more in the high lane.
Keep it up, Brad. Keep it right against you.
99 and 09's got a run going on the outside. Need to go to the top. If you guys can go to the top, go now. Nope, too late.
Carl Edwards now leads the way. Brad Keselowski on his back bumper.
You just watch him in your mirror. He's all over you here. Just you and him. That's
Brad Keselowski scores the victory.
Holy cow. I don't know what to say, guys. Did I really just win this race?
For the first time in his NASCAR Sprint Cup career, Brad Keselowski is in victory lane here at Talladega.
And how much Brad Keselowski's life has changed from that win 1 year ago. Not only has he signed on with Penske Racing, Hermie, and now we have word that he's going to be moving to one of the most popular cars that's been around in NASCAR history, the number 2 Miller Lite car.
Yeah, and the thing that's interesting is people always say, we don't like the way Brad Keselowski races. He needs to change. Why change? What he's doing is working for him. He won this race last year, and now he's racing for one of the biggest organizations in NASCAR. What a year it's been for him.
And we have had some changes since that race 1 year ago. Of course, we've added the spoiler back instead of that wing. And to take a look at the difference between those, let's take a look back. That wing versus the spoiler we're going to have today.
Edwards goes, he turns him, been a lot of discussion with fans as well as officials as well as racers about the change from the wing to the blade. Well, step into my office. I'm going to try to enlighten everyone here, right here in Talladega's garage. Now, what's going on is we've switched from the wing at all the tracks to a blade, to a spoiler. Now, what NASCAR tried to do to keep everything somewhat like they were as far as downforce, drag, and side force is they had to make some adjustments. The way the spoiler makes downforce is it acts like a big dam. And with this dam, the air comes over and makes a high pressure on the deck lid. That's how a spoiler makes downforce. Now, wing was much more efficient. What basically happened was when the air hit it, it had a lot higher pressure on top than on the bottom, so that made your downforce. And also the wing, because it operated that way, was a lot more efficient and therefore had a lot less drag. But this big dam, as I called it right here, the penalty with it is you do have a lot more drag. Now, not only when they went away from the wing to the spoiler did the downforce change, also you lost a lot of side force. With the wing, it had side plates on them, which are kind of mini wings. And what we did was orient them that way that we gained a lot of side force. Now, as you notice with this blade right here, there is no wing. So what NASCAR had to do was give us back some surface area to get that side force back. The obvious thing right here is the quarter panel. They enabled us to lengthen it about 4 inches to give us more surface area, which will push that air against the car. Also, they gave us a bigger shark fin over on the left, 3.5 inches tall. That essentially added more area, a big plank as well, so when the car went in yaw, that side force would catch it. So once again, what is side force? It's basically the force that the air exerts on the side of the car when it goes in yaw and pushes it back around. Now, how are all these changes going to affect us here at Talladega as far as safety and drafting and everything else? Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. The closure rate of the cars is going to be quicker because this blade right here punches a bigger hole. Also, what's going to happen, the side drafting is going to become more of a factor. When a car comes up next to the other one, they're going to take the air out the front of that car and pull it on this blade. So that's going to be cool. It's going to look like Dale Earnhardt of the days of old, breaking away and coming back together. And overall, I think the racing is going to be cool, but yet and still, we're still going to have a big wreck. We always do here at Talladega. But with the addition of this blade, maybe it just won't flip over.
And keep in mind, we did have a test session here, Hermie, so we've changed the restrictor plate. We've added the spoiler back instead of the wing. How do you think the racing's going to be differently today?
Well, I think it's setting up to have, a great finish like we've always had here at Talladega. I'd like to see a finish just like we saw here last year in this race, but keep all the cars on the ground. You heard Booty Barker talk about the closure rate, and what he means by that, when two cars hook up, they catch the pack so fast. And what that means is the driver they're catching, you're looking in your mirror and you're trying to decide how quick they're coming. Can you block them? What move to make to try to retain your position? That's when things get in trouble, when you try to make those split-second decisions on the racetrack. But if practice is any indication, this is going to be one heck of a race here at Talladega.
And we did hear from a couple drivers so far. What's the strategy going to be? Do you fall to the back? Do you stay up front? And I think we're not going to know that answer, Hermie, until we get into that race today. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks. We have just received word that there will be a competition caution at lap number 20 to make sure the teams can take a look at the tires and how they're wearing. But let's face it, guys, no matter what you come out here to Talladega with, no matter if it's a spoiler, a wing, or whatever, the idea is still the same. Stay out of the big one, and you got a shot at the end.
You know, myself and Kyle Petty have run a lot here at this racetrack, and we've run for the lead, and we've almost won. Let me explain to you what happens. You know, you want to be brave. You want to show everybody, look, I belong in the front. And it's impossible, but everybody knows they can get there. So here's what goes on. You're driving down the back straightaway. You're dragging the brake a little bit because you don't want to spin the guy out. Then somebody goes, hey, I seen in practice where Denny Hamlin was pushing somebody, and they got it in their head. Now, this is true. Hang with me. So you're driving along, and he's like, I'm going to be like Denny Hamlin. And all of a sudden, here you are. Whoa, whoa, and you're waving your hand. Stop, stop, you're out of hand. This happens, race fan. I've raced a lot here. And all of a sudden, whoa, whoa. And then the guy gets out and goes, this bump drafting's outrageous. They just don't know how to do it. The problem is we try to emulate. Everybody wants to be the great Dale Earnhardt. You can't push that hard. No, I know you're going to say, well, we have to push Herman to win the race. Not all 500 miles you don't. You're just fighting for superiority. Hey, look at me on TV. I'm up here in front on lap 20. So what? You have to be comfortable in your own shoes to run this race. Not all 43 can run up front, Kyle.
No, and you're exactly right. And I'm going to say something here. That piece by Booty Barker right there is the best piece I've seen on the blade versus the wing. So whether it's Talladega, whether it's Martinsville, whether it's Charlotte, whether it's the All-Star race upcoming, that explains downforce and drag and how the wing works. Booty did a great job on that. I'm glad they're having a competition caution. This is one of those places that really wears tires when it's green. And with all the rain we've had over here the last day or so, this is going to be a green racetrack. They're going to wear some tires early.
And let us not forget, at the beginning of the season, before the first plate race of 2010, NASCAR said, gentlemen, have at it. The gloves are off. You can bump draft, do whatever you want. Just don't go underneath that yellow line. That is still in effect. And we'll be back with much more NASCAR Race Day in just a moment.
After a long weekend in Texas, Kurt's kicking it at the shop, and we're there to tag along. Big Bro Bush shows us around Penske South. Heading your way, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back to Talladega, everyone, where Jamie McMurray went on a tear, winning the last restrictor plate race of the season last year, and also winning the first restrictor plate race of this year. That means that Jamie Mack has won the last two, including a very emotional and unbelievable win at the Daytona 500 to start the season. So right now, when it comes to plate racing, Jamie McMurray is the man of the mountain, and he is standing by with Wendy Venturini.
Yeah, nobody has a better record than Jamie McMurray on these restrictor plate races. How much confidence does that give you going into today's race, or does it mean anything?
Well, I don't know that it means a whole lot, honestly. We've got a good Bass Pro Shop Chevy today. It's just all about trying to make it to the end. These races comes down to making the right move. With 5 laps to go, and you have to make sure you're there. So we're going to be really smart at the beginning of the race and not get real racy, and then at the halfway mark try to get up in the front and hopefully stay there.
Does your race car feel any differently with our different restrictor plate and our spoiler back onto you from what you noticed Friday?
Yeah, I think it will be different. The cars suck up better, it seems like. They're still able to get locked together, and 2 guys go faster than the entire field, which is somewhat exciting. But it seems to me that the track has lost a little bit of grip, and also with the spoiler versus the wing, the cars look a little more nervous when the guy gets locked to them. So it'll be very hairy when somebody gets locked together today, and I think the tires are worn out.
So when you say the tire's worn out, they're going to give a competition caution. NASCAR just announced at lap 25. How important is that for today?
Well, I think it'll be, I don't know about for tires, but I think it'll be good for just the drivers to know that you're going to get a caution on lap 20, and that guys won't be quite so wild, hopefully, in the first 20 laps when you get to have a break. So I think that's great that they're going to go ahead and allow us to have a caution.
You mentioned that when you guys suck up to each other, it gets a little nervous feeling. How is that different from years past? Because it seems like it's always a little bit on edge out there.
Well, when they very first repaved the track, you could run around here. I remember Dale Jr. pushing me the very first time they paved it, and it wasn't that big of a deal. It was weird because you've never been pushed all the way around the track, but the cars seemed pretty stable. But I watched practice yesterday while it rained all day, and I saw a lot of guys get, you could see they were pushing and they were wide open, but you could also see the back of the car moving around more than we have before. So it'll be exciting for everybody.
All right, good luck again today, and of course Jamie McMurray studying practice, much like I did yesterday during the rain. And one thing I saw in that practice session, Hermie, was a guy that you're with was studying and working on that 2-car breakaway.
Yeah, he did on Friday. Now, Saturday, while the rain was going on, I was watching the Bobcats play. He was actually in Charlotte checking out that game. But we were talking about the drivers' meeting here at Talladega. It's usually a 15, 20, 30-minute affair. Had to be the shortest drivers' meeting in Talladega history.
Yeah, when there's less rules, I was telling you, when there's a whole lot less rules, it's a whole lot simpler. So there were no questions, which is probably the first in Talladega history, but I think everyone's just excited to get out there and get going. We've spent the last couple of weeks just waiting out the rain and whatnot, and it's just been kind of frustrating. So I think you're going to see a great race today. I think for the most part you're going to see side-by-side racing, and that's what the people here want to see.
How about last Monday back in Texas, a great finish to the race and a big win for your team?
It's a great win for our team. Our whole FedEx team was, we were not down about this whole thing happening with the knee, but we knew we were going to have to give up a few races before I was going to be 100%. And so I'm still not there, but to show that we could win even with this issue going on, it shows how strong our FedEx team is.
And based on the practice on Friday with the spoiler and all the stuff's going on, what's your strategy for today? Have you and Mike Ford talked about where you want to be with 5 laps to go?
Yeah, I mean, we've played out the whole situation as much as you can, but you never know what position you're going to be until it comes about, like 185 or so. For me, I think I'm just going to try to stay up front for most of the day. Not necessarily get away from the pack, but just try to maintain our track position up there. And that way, if something does go down, hopefully we're not in it. But that's been our Achilles heel here. When we finish really well, but it's just getting to that point that's tough.
And I know next week you're excited to head to Richmond. You love that racetrack as well. Have been to Victory Lane, but Thursday night, big night for you guys too, at the Denny Hamlin Foundation Short Track Showdown at Southside Speedway. That's going to be some good racing too.
Yeah, we're in the midst of selling tickets now, and they're going fast. There's not that many. It is a short track, but I think it's a big day for you as well. I think Virginia for Lovers is coming back to be on Hermes' car, so we're excited to have them back at the racetrack.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, Joey Logano, a big list of superstars there at Southside Speedway, and it's all for a good cause. Y'all check it out and join us next Thursday night, guys.
Hermie, and we also will have coverage of that event on next week's race day at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, coming to you from the Richmond International Raceway. Got to take a quick break, but when we come back here to Talladega, much more on restrictor plate racing and what makes it such a white-knuckle affair. The foundation of Birmingham, Alabama was built on the iron and steel industries, and one of the most predominant players in the history of the Magic City was Sloss Furnaces. James Withers Sloss built this mill in 1881, and over the next 90 years, they produced much of the iron that fueled America's growth as an industrial nation. And once again, we do not want to see a lot of torn up sheet metal on the racetrack at Talladega today. NASCAR racing since 1969, Talladega is one of the oldest racetracks in the business, but it is also the biggest out there, and it's intimidating to anybody, especially a driver who hasn't had much time on it, like Joey Logano. And Joey now takes us for our Home Depot Hot Lap.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano, and this is your Home Depot Hot Lap. This week we're at Talladega, completely different where we were last week. Here it seems like the cars are just bolted to the racetrack. They're not moving around much. And, during the race, you're really trying to find guys you work good with for the end of the race when you need to go. You're going to see a lot of two-car draft like you've seen before, even with the spoiler that's going to kind of push ahead and leave the field. So it's a matter of doing it at the right time, finding the guys you need to. And, here at Talladega, it's more just that. You're always looking in your mirror all the time. It's probably more important what's going on behind you than what's going on in front of you. So you got to be in your mirror a lot, and your spotter's going to help you out a lot with that too. So between all that and missing the big one, of course, and being there at the end, that's the keys here at Talladega. So that's your Home Depot Hot Lap.
What a difference we've seen from the last race at Talladega to this race. We have a bigger restrictor plate, a different set of rules, and really the only thing that's the same, and also the wings off the car now, the only thing that's really the same is the double yellow line. We say do not pass below the double yellow line. Everything else is a lot different.
Except it's the same old racetrack.
Same old racetrack.
It's Talladega, it's Talladega, it's Talladega. And you can go back to, we watched the 87 race earlier, and you saw those guys go in turn 3, Davey on the bottom, and the 9 car get a little bit loose in that footage. You and I were just drawn up here. But you see that, it's the same old racetrack. I think the spoiler brings some of that back into play. I think the restrictor plate, we've seen speeds like we haven't seen before. from these cars, the closure rate. There's a lot of different variables, but the racetrack is still the same, and how these guys approach the race, I think, will be the same.
Okay, this might not make a lot of sense. It's the biggest track in NASCAR, but there's still not a lot of room once you're out there. These cars are so close together, and you almost get a little bit of a claustrophobic feeling out here.
The reason it's so close is because you can run 3 wide easily, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, I'm going to go 4 wide. Look how nice it is 3 wide. It's the problem like right here. If Mark Martin and that 5 were to push up a little bit, boom, we have a big wreck, and that's what happens a lot.
It looks so smooth.
And look how fast, Kyle, they're closing on those guys.
Look how fast he's got. But here's the deal. This is where you really depend on your spotter. I had a spotter down here one time, and he said, inside, inside, outside, inside. outside. Oh, hell, they're just everywhere. and sometimes that's what you feel like when you're in the car, because you can see that. You're closing through the middle, and the outside line doesn't know you're coming that fast through the middle, and the inside line is going the opposite way. And it's really... It gives you a funny feeling sometimes.
And this is our first time at Talladega since NASCAR has instituted the 3 attempts at the green-white checkered. If you think it was wild before, now we can have a possibility of 3 tries to finish this thing under a green flag, and we could have people all over the place.
We have 3 chances to wreck the whole field. It's going to be exciting.
But you know what? It was the first time for the green-white checkered at Daytona, and theoretically, we could have had 3 different winners there. The way that race ended, the first green-white checkered, and then the second one, we could have had different winners, and that's the exciting part for the fans, to have the green-white checkered.
I go back to Martinsville on the in-car camera when Jeff Gordon said, darn it, they were waving the yellow and the white. Jeff Gordon missed winning that race by 20 foot because they said, nope, Jeff Gordon, we're going to try it again. So you're right, we can have 3 winners in the same lap.
We know it's what the fans come here to see, but what about from a driver's standpoint, the anticipation or the thought that that big one could happen at any minute?
Me as a driver, and I know, Kyle, I can't say what you think, but you have to absorb it. You got to say, I'm ready to wreck. Y'all want to wreck? Let's wreck, baby. And then that's the way you have to come into this race. You put your hands on, you tighten your seatbelt, but you must first finish to accept points.
Yeah, and I think it's an exciting nervousness, I guess, is, whatever the proper terminology is for that. But I think you're very antsy about the start of this race because you know at any given time this can happen. The thing is, unlike other racetracks that we run, when your car's not as good or something's wrong, this racetrack, you got to put it on the line lap after lap after lap, knowing that you're either going to be in the right place or you stand the chance of being in the wrong place.
Well, there are 2 gentlemen who are responsible for putting on these shows here at these big racetracks, and they are both with Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Thank you, Johnny. Of course, it was only 8 races ago we were in Daytona for that Daytona 500 finish with Jamie McMurray going to victory lane. I'm joined now by Robin Bragg and Grant Lynch. Now, Robin, you guys have about 9 weeks before we return to Daytona, but you have some major changes that have taken place.
We really do, Wendy. After the July 4th Coke 0400, we're not going to have too many cars running around. We're going to have a bunch of these running around. We're going to repave the World Center of Racing, start a new chapter in this wonderful track, and what a better place to announce it than here at Talladega, because Grant has been through it, and I'll tell you what, he did it right, the drivers like it, and we're looking forward to it.
All right, Grant, what can you tell us about what's going to happen with the repavement at Daytona later this year?
Well, it'll be the same crew that did us, so they'll know what they're doing on the high banks. The second thing you see is the drivers have more grip immediately than they used to have. So when you do have an altercation on the racetrack, they have the ability to drive around it, which for a long time at Talladega, they just all spun into it, and they're still doing that today. So I think you'll see that same thing at Daytona, plus the track's going to be smooth. You'll see a lot of the shoving and bump drafting that you're going to see here today.
All right, thanks to Grant, president of Talladega, and Robin Bragg, president of Daytona. Reef pavement taking a place at Daytona later on this year, Johnny. And keep in mind, the last time they did that was 1979, one of the best finishes, the little fighting action that happened that year.
That's right, Wendy. What a huge undertaking that is, repaving these big racetracks. It's going to be very interesting to see how Daytona comes out. We have Brad Keselowski, the man that won this race last year, coming up in just a moment, but also we'll continue to get you fired up for racing Talladega style.
When in Dega, beware the big one.
Ryan Newman up and over off the end of the back straightaway.
We've got the goods on the biggest wrecks, wreaking major havoc around the turn. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Saturday night, May 22nd, the stars come out and the gloves come off for the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed. And with $1 million on the line, it's checkers or wreckers. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race Saturday night, May 22nd, only on Speed. And while you're in the Charlotte area, about 90% of the race teams have their shops in that area for the fans to come by and check out. So let's go on a race shop tour of Penske Racing South.
So this is a famous fan walk here at Penske Racing. Lots of things going on today. But what's neat is we each have our own race hauler and our own test hauler back behind me, so you can see everything as far as what gets loaded and unloaded at the racetrack every week. One thing that's pretty cool is we have all the cars right up front here. So that's where most all the action happens. It's where a bunch of the guys are always working on the cars. And it used to be just the 2-car in this area, then the 12, and then the 77, but now everything is mixed in. One real neat visual here at Penske Racing is the cool shots that we've put up on the wall of all the drivers over the years. So you got Roger Penske himself in the first shot, Donahue in the second one, Allison, Wallace, My Ugly Mug is after that. Then you got Keselowski and Hornish and Allgaier, who's the current driver in the Nationwide for us. Really what happens in this area is the surface plates. This is where the car gets checked last minute before it goes to the racetrack and first thing when it comes back from the racetrack. So right now Brad's car is on the surface plate getting checked out from the last race. They're gonna weigh it, scale it, measure it, then they'll pump the gas out of it, clean the car off, and send it back into the body shop if it needs damage repair or anything. But this one's ready to rip. This one looks good. What's cool is we got all of our race wins that have come out of this building on these banners. So you got a bunch of Newman wins in the Nationwide. There's my first Cup win. That one's pretty cool. All the way back in 2006. It's really neat to have all these banners there as far as I can see. We're gonna run out of wall space pretty soon. That's good. Well, as far as our fan walk is concerned, I mean, you get the bird's eye view from everything, but let's get you guys down where the action is and see some of the excitement as far as up close and personal. All right, cool. So now we're on the ground level. This is where all the action happens. Everybody's getting everything prepared and dialed in, but let me show you around. So this is one of the cars we're getting ready for a test session, and we're taking it to a short track, trying to get ready for the upcoming Richmond race and dial in some things better because we didn't have a really good run out in Phoenix. But one thing you can tell us, a short track car, got the big brake duct openings. Don't want to get you too close to see everything, but let's go bother Steve Addington. He's sitting in his office. Well, this is Steve's office. He's always in here wrenching, doing something crazy. Say hi, Steve. So we'll let him be. He's working away, doing the real stuff. Let's go see if we can find our Talladega car that we're warming up this weekend to get ready for the big race down there. I don't know where it went. Well, we try to keep up with our car. There it goes right there. That's our car getting ready for Talladega. It's going over to the chassis dyno. We just missed out on it. Come on back this way. Well, you guys saw quite a bit. It was really neat to show you guys the ins and the outs of what goes on at Penske Racing. It's fun to see everybody working together in this building, making it work for the 2, the 12, and the 77. But I got to get back to work. It was cool having you guys here, but you got to go. See you guys.
Well, thanks to Kurt Busch for taking us on a tour of Penske Racing. I didn't see your office. Where's that at?
I have one. It's actually right next to Kurt's, but awesome facility we have at Penske Racing. Those are some cool pictures, too. Love to go through there and just walk through the different parts of the shop and IndyCar wing. There's no other facility like Penske Racing.
We're talking about Talladega now. This race last year, were you in that race?
I think so. I don't remember.
I don't think a lot of other people do either, but a great day for you then, and a lot of good things have happened for you on and off the racetrack, but that had to be all triggered by your win last year. Kind of surprise win in James Finch's car.
Well, it was just one of those dream weekends here. It's fitting that was the Aaron's dream weekend. So, you know, we're looking forward to getting back on the track with the Penske Dodge. A lot of great things have happened over the last year or so, and, you know, kind of culminated by last week, getting to drive the Miller Lite Blue Deuce. So it's just, you know, so many great things have happened since last year at Talladega.
And what are your thoughts on that? Going into a car, a championship-winning car with a lot of history with Kurt, Rusty Wallace right on down the line, a lot of pressure, added pressure.
Yeah, there's pressure, but there's always pressure to win. There should be pressure to win no matter what car you drive. The cool part is that I'm driving a car next year that's an icon, you know. It's a fixture of the sport, and it's a car that transcends NASCAR. You know, fans know the Blue Deuce that aren't everyday fans, so that's pretty cool, and I can't wait to represent Miller Lite and get them in Victory Lane and drink it back a few with the guys there, you know.
And look, this race last year, you guys pushed yourself to victory. Spoiler this time around, a lot of fans want to know, drivers, media, what can we expect today? What's your strategy? I asked Denny Hamlin, where do you want to be with 5 laps to go?
Well, where I want to be, I always want to be in the lead. You know, no matter what the scenario is, you want to be in the lead. But realistically, your odds of being in the lead are very low. So you've got to try and have moves planned out to get to the lead for that last segment.
Well, I got fantasy picks coming up, Sunoco picks, and might have my eye on this guy right here. He knows how to win, and a lot of momentum on his side, JR.
And you know the thing about those picks today, Hermie, they're nothing but rolling the dice, man. Anything can and will happen. And Brad Keselowski is living proof of that because he won here and no one thought about it. When we come back, we'll have much more from Talladega as we get set to have some fun in the sun here at NASCAR's biggest racetrack.
Saturday, the boys head to the action track where Kyle jumped into victory lane last May. Can he defend his spring title and nab his first win of 2010? Live from Richmond, under the lights, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
It is time now for our Sunoco Performance Picks, and here are the standings in 2010. Kyle Petty, with the yellow stripes on the back of his car, still is leading the league by a long shot, by better than one whole race. KP, you're the man of the mountain right now, but you know what? This is the great equalizer. Talladega. Doesn't matter who you're going to pick here, right?
You're a cheater. You're cheating.
I'm sorry. And you're right. Talladega, it doesn't matter. Okay.
NASCAR needs to make a rule about Kyle.
Make a rule. Okay, this week I'm running the wing and everybody else has got the score. That's the rule. Okay, I got 2, 88, and 12. Okay, and this is my second week in a row for Kurt Busch. I thought the Dodges did a great job at Daytona. I thought the Penske organization as a whole, the 2, the 77, and the 12, were incredible at Daytona. So I'm going back with the 2.
I'm on the sprint stand. It's a great view of pit road where not a lot of action will take place today. It's going to be out on that racetrack. Here who I'm going with today. Denny Hamlin, Dale Jr., and Brad Keselowski. Now, Denny Hamlin, of course, coming off that win on Monday. Do I think he's going to get back to victory lane? Well, when we talked to him earlier, he said, when I finish well. So I'm looking for a good, consistent finish from Denny Hamlin. Hermie?
I'm going to launch a complete investigation. When I had the meeting this morning, I was in second place in points. Now, for some reason, I'm third, but I'll change that today. Why? Because I got 3 great picks. The 24 of Jeff Gordon, the 19 of Elliott Sadler, and the 12 of Brad Keselowski. Why Jeff Gordon? It's simple. He has 6 wins here. He's hungrier than ever. Look for this 24 car to get to victory lane today. Johnny?
All right, he's got a lot of help out there and teammates as well. Well, we're going to go with the 24, just like Hermie, the 88 because we're in Alabama and we're not stupid. And also, how about the number 55 car? Mikey Waltrip is back racing again, and Mikey is going to prove to us that he can still get the job done. He's got the best hair out of the group on that picture you can see right there. And also, Mikey has not forgotten how to drive these race cars. He can win the dang thing.
Oh, Mikey's a good driver. All right, here is my pick, the 2 of Kurt Busch. 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., and the 55 of 2-time Daytona 500 winner, Michael Waltrip. I want to talk about Dale Jr. He is the state of Alabama. I like his daddy, and I like him too. Dale Jr. is going to make me proud today. He's going to be back by popular demand. Okay, Jose? You mean I'm last again?
Again.
I don't like
You're
not
coming
being
out,
able
though.
to hand this off to anybody.
You're coming out. You're coming out of it, man.
Kenny, you could come out of it, but that means one of us is going to have to be in last place after Kenna Wallace. Now, Kenna Wallace has to go to the driver's meeting now because he's getting set to run 312 miles later on this afternoon.
Yes.
Kenna, go get it done, brother.
Remember this, I'm a race car driver. Woo!
Remember this, Kenny Wallace is my pick in the nationwide race. Kenny Wallace,
yeah, we all
ladies
got
and
Kenny in the
gentlemen.
nationwide race, and that is about an hour after the Cup race because of the inclement weather yesterday. NASCAR has moved us into a very interesting doubleheader with 812 miles of racing at Talladega here today. And race fans, you can get the one thing that every race fan would like to have in their living room. How would you like to have an official Sunoco racing fuel can? Just visit speedtv.com/Sunoco for entry details, official rules, and drawing dates. And right now, we're going to take a quick break, come back in a moment, and wrap it all up on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
You're not giving me the strategy whether you're going to fall to the back or go to the front.
No. You're blessed. I mean, you're part of the Petty family. I am honored. I got goosebumps.
Call me, call me.
This is going to be one heck of a race here at Talladega.
It's going to be a wild, wild race. The fans at home are in for a treat.
Well, step into my office. I'm going to try to enlighten everyone here.
That was beautiful.
No question about the fact that we have a beautiful day here at Talladega, and it seems to be a fact, the inevitable, the big one at Talladega. We're talking about that big crash that is around every corner.
You talking to Ryan, see over here. You want to try to push him and figure out off Oregon?
Yeah, same thing, and he'll let me push him away from everybody. I'd like this to be a green-white checker myself. And but he's got to let me push him out.
I told him, he says if it comes down to green, white checker, he'll push your ass for 3 laps. He just wants you two to get away, okay? 10-4.
Talk about a tight draft. You couldn't get any closer between Ryan Newman and Dale Earnhardt Jr. as they go back over to turn 2.
Problem is, Barney, they've broken away from the rest of the field by 5 or 6 car lengths.
Still 2 back there, 09. And the 99 locked up outside there. 2 back, 1 back now. 1 back there. Trying to get outside you there.
Still go to the top if you want to. Step, too late.
Carl Edwards has the lead, though. He's not been in the picture all afternoon. Suddenly he's in the lead, but under attack. Contact here at the tri-oval.
Step it, can't see him. Spin it, stay straight, stay straight, stay straight, stay straight. Go get him, buddy, go get him.
Flag is out. Second place there.
Hell yeah! Oh, look at Brad.
Carl Edwards got a bump from behind. Coming into the tri-oval to the start-finish line, he was in the lead. Suddenly he was in the air, and Brad Keselowski scores the victory here at Talladega Super Speedway.
It's just a little bit scary because I saw the ground, and then I hit the wall with, I couldn't tell exactly which part of the car I hit the wall with, and I was real worried I hit the roll cage. I had to wait a minute, make sure that that there wasn't something, stuck in me somewhere or something. That's a little nerve-wracking to hit the wall with something other than the side of the race car. So it's the first time I flipped in a race car.
I don't want to wreck a guy, but you're forced in that situation, so. But there's nothing else I could do. We had a lot of fun tonight. Man, it was that fun. I hope the fans did too, because this is NASCAR racing, and this is cool.
Wild, wild racing at Talladega. They've got 6 laps to go when they come out of the dog leg and hit the start-finish line and go back to turns 1 and 2.
I think you're doing good. You know what you got. You know how to get there. We know you know how to get her done.
Well, I don't know nothing. I just know they're going to crash at some point.
No, I mean, you did a good job going up there. That was cool.
They're almost leaning on one another, bouncing off one another. Here comes Kane. Whoa, trouble further back. Ryan Newman up and over off the end of the back straightaway. On his roof, sliding up, pounding the safer barrier. Marcus Ambrose is collected, and Kevin Harvick as well is collected off the end of the back straightaway.
When I had the roll cage landing on my head, I was a little worried, and I was happy to be able to walk out of that in a roundabout way.
Staying out, just save what you can for us, buddy. Mark, we're in a little better shape than the guys in front of us on gas. We'll be right at it there. Go give them hell, bud. It's the only way we can make up points.
Oh, trouble. Further back now. Kurt Busch goes around, slams the inside retaining wall.
Zone 3, watch the 2. Come on through here. Watch the 1 coming down.
Mark's down. Mark Martin is over on his roof, back on his
Into the wall. First time I ever turned over, boys. Yeah, 10-4. You all right, bud? I'm okay. I'm trying to make it a line, boys. Yeah, 10-4. You can if it'll go.
It's just a wreck. I hope everybody enjoyed the show there. I don't know what it looked like. It looked pretty exciting from my viewpoint there, but I have no idea. I don't know
Don't have a clue. Don't know what happened out there. So I don't know. Congratulations to Jamie McMurray. And that's about all I know about the whole race. I'll find out later, I guess. I don't know what happened.
And you never really do know what's going to happen here at Talladega. So often it's when you come down to the checkered flag, Kyle, you don't know who's going to win the thing. 499 miles of racing, and then you determine your winner by a couple of feet, but also the wrecks that happen.
The wrecks, but you look at the Daytona 500, the very first one. They talk about 500 miles, and it comes down to that. We're still doing that today. You look at these wrecks that are on TV, Rusty Wallace, the things that have happened here. How many times do we see the driver come out of the infield care center and say, first time I've ever been upside down. More first-time winners at Talladega, more first-time upside downs at Talladega than any place we go. And it's truly amazing. But I think this is a credit and a tribute to NASCAR. You see the cars through the years that have done this. You see these cars here from Rusty to this last one with the 99 car of Carl. And the drivers all get out and walk away. That's truly amazing that NASCAR, that what we do is that safe.
Yep, and that is, truly a testament about what goes on inside those race cars to have those drivers walk away, and that is the good thing. Let's go down now to Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Johnny. Yes, the inevitable, the big one usually happens at Talladega, but how can teams overcome it? If your car's good enough to make a few repairs and get back out there for points, that's important. Things like this are what's a necessity on pit road. We're in the Team Red Bull pit box. This is a nose piece. Now they have the upper piece and the bottom piece. Depending on how much they need, they can actually brace those together if they need the whole nose. Talk about some of the pieces these teams carry on pit road. It's very tight back here, but they do have everything they need in case of a wreck. This is our splitter braces that are all zip tied together if they need those in a hurry. You know, if you bump somebody in that bump draft and your splitter braces come off, that's going to be a problem. Here in the crash cart, we have some fender pieces, some door pieces in the Red Bull pit box, but most important, what is needed? It's a rubber mallet. These are very important at super speedways. Now, here's another thing I want to point out. This crash cart, it's taken up part of the backside of pit road. The pit box is right here with pit road on the other side. What does this mean for today? Well, we have the Cup race this afternoon, followed by the nationwide race. What does that mean? It means a very quick turnaround. There's not enough room to stage these nationwide pit boxes throughout the day, so what's gonna happen as soon as the Cup race is over, this area will be all cleared out, and hopefully within 30 minutes, those nationwide pit boxes will be rolled out and they will get their spot on pit road. It's gonna be a crazy day, and oh, by the way, yeah, we're racing at Talladega in both Sprint Cup and the Nationwide Series. Hermie?
Yeah, Wendy, when you think about Talladega, the drivers are completely divided on this racetrack. Do they like it? Do they not like it? The drivers that normally run up front are not as fond of Talladega. Why? Because they cannot get that separation from the rest of the pack that they do at some of the racetracks, some of the mile-and-a-half racetracks. The superior cars make their way to the front and get out of traffic. But here, this draft is a great equalizer. It brings everybody together. Any one of these 43 cars on pit road can win this race, as evidenced by Brad Keselowski upsetting the entire field by winning here last year. A guy like Joey Logano with not a lot of experience. All you have to do is make one right decision on the right lap, and you get that car in the victory lane. So that's why the drivers that are mid-pack cars and back, they love Talladega, because they get to race and compete better here than they do in most racetracks. And for the fans, it's a great feeling to know anybody in this race can win today. JR?
Hermie, thanks a lot. Doesn't matter where you're racing, but right now teams compare themselves to where they are in terms of the top 12. And here are the guys that are leading us, Kyle Petty, in points. Right now, it's Jimmy Johnson, Kenseth, Jeff Burton, Kurt Busch, and Mark Martin make up your top 5, and that can change big time at Talladega.
Oh, that can change huge here, and that's why this race is so important, this first race in the spring, to what goes on in the points chase late in the year, so these guys know what they have when they come back.
Right now, Joey Logano is in. Tony Stewart is the first driver out. And when you talk to these guys, they will tell you it is a big difference between being in the top 12 and outside of it, because you're a second-class citizen in Sprint Cup racing if you're not in the top 12. Want to thank all the guests that came by to us today on the NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. Also want to thank all the fans here at Talladega who made it such a great morning for us as we get ready for 499 miles of white-knuckle, door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper racing here on NASCAR's biggest and baddest racetrack. Don't forget to join us tonight for NASCAR Victory Lane fueled by Sunoco. Sit back, strap in, and enjoy the race at Talladega.